Welcome to the LGBTQ New Americans Oral History Project. My name is Wilfredo Hernandez, and I'm the Arts and Culture Group Leader here at Brooklyn Community Pride Center.
And I'm Jackie Yadashkin, Public Affairs Director for Immigration Equality.
And today is Saturday, June 3rd, 2017.
And we are here with...
Ishalaa Ortega.
And where are you right now?
Where we are here located at Brooklyn Community Pride Center.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for
Hi,
joining
Ishalaa.
us.
Thank you for having me here.
So can you tell us where you grew up?
Well, that's a very interesting question because I've been all over. I born in Tijuana, Mexico, but I live in many different states in Mexico and here in the United States. So just to be a little bit of myself everywhere. I grew up in Tijuana until 7, then I moved to Sinaloa till 15, then I get back to Tijuana, then I go back to Mexico City, and then I get to the California, then Las Vegas, then Phoenix, and I'm here in New York.
And we're happy to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thanks.
what was it like growing up in Mexico?
Well, there is so many experiences, and I would like to be just within myself. And I will say that it was very difficult, especially because growing up being a queer person, transgender, gay, but a notorious one, or with all this femininity in your skin, is very, very difficult when you are in a society which show you that femininity isn't a good thing. Misogynistic societies always try to diminish and, of course, punish whoever tried to be a femme person. So yeah, it was a lot of bully, a lot of violence, a lot of criticism, a lot of hiding, all that that most people of my age suffer in that time in Mexico and most of the Latin American countries.
That sounds like a difficult time. Were you able to find any sort of comfort in any activities that you enjoyed or any people that you were close to?
I did always. I've been all my life a very artistic person, so I tried to join all of the activities related to art, and also my big refuge was books. I always get the best and highest scores or grades at every subject, whatever I study, and I think that's my refuge there. Studying is a good thing.
Yeah. And you continue studying today, right?
Yes, I am happy in as college students, and I'm really having a great evaluations and great grades. Yes, I'm so happy about that. I really enjoying these last 2 years, which give me a lot of hope in humanity.
So can you tell us about when you came to the United States for the first time?
Yeah, the first time it was in 2001. I illegally, as the term that I hate, but the one that people use, political correct. I illegally crossed the border 3 times. I was catched those 3 times, and I made it until the 4th one. I almost died in the desert when I was trying to cross the border. It was a really difficult, but at the same time was very adventurous because I was 20. Yeah, I was 20, and that was something that I have to do because I had a big problem with the police in Mexico. I mean, in Tijuana City. I was doing some show. I was outside of the club, and they picked me up, literally kidnapped me, hit me, and it was a whole bad experience and situation. At that time, all transgender women in Tijuana were like persecuted and criminalized and assault, rob, rape, all that. And before I can go into a major major situation or a big problem. With that experience with the police, that was enough for me to move out, to like run away. And yes, I illegally crossed the border, but I didn't do it because I wanted to commit a crime, but because I wanted to be safe. That's what I moved the first time. And I lived for almost 3.5 years in California, and something else happened, which was even worse. Two person, Latino persons from my own community attacked me in a hate crime. I almost died. I literally almost died. I seen and I feel what every single person who is a transgender woman in this country felt before dying. The only difference between them and I is that I am alive. I was strong enough to survive a hate crime, but I know what it meant. I know what it feels, and how hard could be for some people to recover from that. That was in 2003, and that was I will say that was the experience that made me the strongest person, the strong person that I am right now. I'm not scared of anything right now. I feel safe in this country, but that experience gave me a lot, and a lot to think, and a lot to fight for, because there is so many people who continues being a target for the hatred for those who are close-minded. Yes.
So, at some point after that, you went back to Mexico, is that right?
Yes. After the report, the detective, and all that legal procedure that it has to be followed, I have to remain for like around a year in the same place in case that police catch those criminals. After that, it was a major depression for me. Like it was some of the worst time I ever had. And then I moved to Las Vegas for a year. Las Vegas gave me another experience too, but I don't want to go deep in that because it was like something I didn't like to talk about. Then I moved back to Mexico. I hung the high heels and put back the boots for a man, because otherwise I will not be able to do anything but sex work, and something that I respect a lot because it's very hard to do it. For every of my sisters, every single person, male, female, trans, whoever do sex work, it is a survival job. It's a survival crime that the society puts us to do, but they do not recognize it, only criminalizes, and make us pay for their mistakes. So yes, I don't want to be a sex worker. So I decide not to continue my life as a transgender person, but to go back to be simply a gay boy, a queer femme, entertainer, fantastic drag queen, but not the one that I am right now. So it was hard. It was something that most of us have to go through because it is what the society gives us. This heteronormative situation in life that everybody has to follow, and if you are different, you will be punished. That's the message we have from every church, every religion, every politician, every single others who is different to us. Yes, I have to go back. I have to do that kind of stuff, and I survived. I did it, and I did it well.
What were you doing in terms of work or activism at that time?
I get back in Tijuana in 2005. I start working for a company who was call center. The company name is Telvista. I work directly as a supervisor for Avon, company for women here in the United States. And I also do all this activism work, especially for trans community, trying to prepare this, the environment for me. I was working to get the right for them, but at the same time preparing the society for me to do this transition. The society in my city, on my town, was never ready for me because I can choose to do the transition, but I knew it that the only job that I will get will be sex work. So yes, I didn't. So I worked so hard for 6 years as a supervisor and as an activist and as an entertainer. And in 2011, I was invited to participate in a reality show in Mexico City, which I am so happy that I was available to do it. The name for that was La Homofobia Está Out, uh, which means homophobia is out. Uh, and I participate there, and that gave me like a big platform for me to be like a speaker or a spokesperson when we want to like demand our rights and fight against the system that is oppressing us. So in 2011, after the reality show, I get back to Tijuana and I reincorporate myself in my regular job. But in that job, something awful happened against a person who tried to change from one position to another. They have this rule that if you want to change from one part to the other side, one side to other side, or from campaign to campaign, that work, you will have to quit the job and then like do the process to reset to like be hired. Even if they already tell you that they will give you the job, you have to do that process. And in that process, and in Mexico, still happening today, you are forced to take a HIV test. And most of the companies, if your results are positive, they will not hire you. They will not give you a job. That's another situation, which is hard because HIV is a disease that exists, and we should not be discriminating people because of they are living with HIV. So before that, I already was working a lot with HIV, the community that lived with HIV since 1996, when the pandemic was like awful. There was no medication, nothing. So just to go a little bit back and talk about that because it's very important for me. In 1996, I joined a little group that is so hard. We receive medication from people who pass away in the United States. They donate those medications that go to Tijuana. And in Tijuana, we separate medications for a week and we give that to people who live with HIV there. So that was so hard because most of the people didn't survive. I seen so many friends, so many people that I never know before, but I knew them, or I meet with them because of that situation. Yeah, that gave me also like a lot to think about, a lot to be scared of, a lot to be like out there speaking about the rights that we deserve, how injustice the government in every single country in this world is against the LGBT community, but especially with those who live with HIV, which is very hard because the stigma created because of the media, because of the religious leaders that says that was a perfect punishment for those who were sinners. That's something like big. It's something like sad, big, because that's inhuman. And when you see somebody like in this country, Ronald Reagan, which was the president at the time, when the pandemic started, not saying a thing for 5 years, and when he says something was because already the straight people were already affected, it is it is something very, very wrong. At the beginning, it was only the black community, the heroin users, the homosexuals, as they call it at the time, and those who were like hemoderivatives. Okay, going back to after the reality show, when I get back to the company, that I was saying that this person who was under my supervision request this change of campaign. They did this test. It was a woman, John, and they said that you're positive. You will not get the job. So get back to the position that you had before. So it wasn't that, that was already wrong. That was already like tough and ridiculous and the worst thing that anybody can do. But it doesn't stop there. What happened after it was that people from human resources start calling people who know that girl to tell them, like, if they were men, like, do you have sex with this person? She did positive. The results come back positive, and do the test. You so everybody, like, we're talking about like thousands of people in the company. Everybody knew about this person. So I really, really get so pissed, like extremely. I make a big scandal. I make a protest in front of the company. I advocate a lot, and I was so mad because I didn't know about that. And then I realized that when I got hired, they did test me too, and I feel like that was an invasion of my privacy. Of course, I didn't I don't live with HIV, but there's just the reason, like, someone came to you and they said, like, we're gonna do this test for drugs, but instead of just for drugs, they do test you for HIV and so many other diseases. It really got into my skin, and I was like, you have no idea how pissed I get. So because I escalate the situation until the very top, they fire me. I sued them, and I won. Yes, I won. So after that, I moved to Mexico City because in 2010, Mexico City approved the gay marriage, and also they make like a statement saying that nobody will be discriminated, blah blah blah, which is like fake. Mexico is all the law in Mexico is like inexistent and fake, and if you don't have money, you're not covered by the law. So I decided to move to Mexico City because I thought that that was for me going to be the heaven that I never had in Mexico. Like, I will say that, oh my God, Mexico City will be like living in one of Canada, or like places with are very like open, like Holland, Canada, and some others. But never thought about the United States again because I already have a hate crime here. And there was like this big battle with the gay marriage in San Francisco and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, no, if I'm going to move again, I'm not going to move there. I want to join in my own country with my own people, with my own language, and all that thoughts that made me feel that everything will be okay now. So I moved to Mexico City because I really get in love with the culture and all that stuff that I don't know about my heritage and stuff. But I discovered that transgender is still the same, and still the same everywhere, not just there. But at that time, I had this big, big dream that everything would be great in Mexico City. So what I found there was like men and women, cis men and women, they will be accepted. Like, doesn't matter who you love, blah blah blah. All this like commercialized and marketing idea of what is to be lesbian and gay, which is like, if you look alike as cisgender, you're fine. If you don't, just screw up. So yes, I got there and I experienced that. I stayed there for a year, and I was like, no, this is not a good thing. This is not what I wanted to be. This is just like a section of this city which is everything allowed. It's like Zona Rosa, the pink area. Zona Rosa is the right name. And everything is allowed there, but if you go a little bit deeper, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna be discriminated. You doesn't count. And what they did for trans, instead of like giving them like a opportunity to have a job or a career or go back to school, whatever, what they did was that right now, from now on, you will not be punished if you are doing sex work. So that's the price. That's what the government gives, which is like, well, I don't want to curse, but it's just a stupid thing. So yes, I get back to Tijuana. So in Tijuana, I get there in beginning 2013. And when I get back to TJ, what was happening was that there was a governor election going on, and there were these two major political party fighting for the stake, because that's nothing else but a stake for them to be just in power and do whatever they want and install whatever they can. So there was this debate, which at the time was Francisco Vega and Fernando Castro Trenti, the two major candidates for government. And one of these two ignorants, because the both of them are just like two pieces of ignorant people. The second one I mentioned, which is Castro Trenti, said publicly, in public, in the debate on camera, that what's happening in Mexico City, he doesn't want it for our state. He don't want two men holding hands on the street, two women raising a kid. All that was already happening in Mexico City. So because of this publicity, because of this strong voice in my community that I get, or the platform I was, the media immediately contact me and start asking me questions, what my thoughts, what are the feeling of the community, blah, blah, blah. So I made strong statements. I organized a march. I organized a protest. And I was like the little stone in the shoe for him. I make myself the uncomfy step, like when somebody is like hitting you in the back all the time, you say something. So anyways, I started doing this very, very hard work and tried to convince people to not to vote for him, not to support the other one, which was also is an asshole and a homophobic. The whole political party that he represents is this conventional, conservative, hypocrites people. So, but I prefer to have somebody who has been always the same, instead of someone saying like, yes, we are liberals, we are blah, 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 but we don't want this. So yes, I prefer to fight the other system instead of this new one, which is the anxious political party there. So yes, I fight hard, and I start receiving these death threats through phone calls. These death threats really scare me, because recently I've seen so many activists get killed in Mexico for many different reasons. If they want to save the forests, if they want to save the children's, if they want to fight against this wave for kidnapping people, this disappearing people that the government tactics had, like the 43 students that disappears, I guess is the right number, 43. Or the movement of the 132 students against the President of the United States. All that movements, the leaders of them were always at risk of getting killed. So I was one of them. Some of them didn't survive, and I am so sorry about them. And and it is because we try to do better for our country and our world. And yes, at some point, I was invited in June 2013. I was invited to participate in, for the third time, in a U.S. consul as a representative of my community, celebrating the Pride Month. And I didn't assist. I didn't go to because I was so scared to leave home. But I decided to go. Like, I even cut my hair and tried to look different. And I went to the office of the organization that I was part of, and I am co-founder of, which is COCUD LGBTTI, and in Tijuana. And I went there. It was 5 p.m. meeting with Lambda Legal, which was part of the U.S. consul meeting. So they decided to visit in our office. They called me. They told me that come over, blah blah blah. I went there, and after they left, the meeting go on, and it was like around 8 when we done. I mean, when we finished, and then walking to my commute, somebody approached me and tell me the same thing that I was being told through the phone death threats, which was like they will kill me, they will wrap me up on a blanket and throw me in the street. That's the translation of "te vamos a encobijar," stop doing what you're doing. So I grabbed him from from his arm, and he like pulled it out and just ran away. So I start like walking as fast as I can to go to my commute. Then I go home. I turn off all of the lights. I wasn't there. I moved my car to somewhere else. I asked my partner to take it with him, just to make the house looking like nobody was there. I stopped opening my little shop because I have a little store there. So I stopped working literally, and I get in a paranoia mood that made me run away. And I asked one of my friends to give me a ride to the border, and I present myself there and asked for asylum. Yes, that's what happened in my last year in Mexico.
And what happened after you presented yourself at the border and asked for help?
Yeah, that was another big experience, which was a very bad experience. And your like moral go all the way down because you feel that you are working so hard, doing as much as I can to do better, and then what you receive as a crown is jail. It's like, okay, you do all that stuff, it's a good stuff, thank you very much, but you're gonna be in jail. So I was like, so when I asked for the asylum, what happened was that this discrimination, laughing at you, point, like finger point you, a star. So I asked for the asylum. They take off my passport, then take me to a room. A female officer come to search, and then she noticed that I was a trans person, and then asked for a man to get in, and then the men touched me everywhere. After that, there was this big, like, sitting area with a lot of chairs, like a lot of lines of chairs, and they sit me all in the front, all the way in the front, just for the rest of the people don't feel uncomfortable and stop, not to need to be seeing me. It's like, oh my God, you are like something, disgusting. So they put me all the way there. So someone show up and start giving like little mattress to everyone because we're gonna be there for the rest of the night. And they give every single one but me. So I have to stay the whole night sitting while everyone else was sleeping comfy well, not that comfy, but comfier than me in that little mattresses. I stayed there for that night, and the day after they moved me to somewhere to another place, and in the other place it was a similar situation. So they started like torturing me with my sleeping. So they didn't have a place for people like me. That's what I was told. And what happened was that I was sitting next to the officer that was taking every single person, like doing the intake form for every single person next to me. So I have to see every single one who went to this officer. So every single one was laughing at me, especially because one day after or 2 days after, whatever, if you are a hairy person, everything will start showing up. And if you are dressing like a woman, and then they didn't allow you to change or to clean or to shower or whatever, so you look like horrible, especially if you don't like to look that way. So everybody who was like facing me was laughing at me, every single one of the detainees, the officers, and whoever else was in that office. So I wasn't able to be in a cell. I was just in front of that officer. And what happened was that they have to take every single person out of the cells to let me go in for a period of time, like 2 to 3 hours. So that was my resting time per day, 3 days. So they just let me sleep like 8 hours in 3 days, something like that. And that was like very awful. And after that, they they moved me from that place to the official prison. People call it detention center just to sound it look not awful, but it's a prison like for criminals, because you've been treated like you kill someone. So when they did the intake for me, they asked me some specific questions about gender and whatever. So they say like, "Do you think you are a LGBT person?" You say, "Yes, I don't think so. I am." And they say, "Are you gay?" "I am a trans person." And they say like, "Are you afraid of being in the general population?" I say, "Yes." And the person say, "Don't say yes, because if you say yes, you're gonna be in solitary confinement." I didn't know what was that, and they said, "What is that?" And say like, "Oh, you're gonna be by yourself in a little cell for all the time, and you're just gonna have like 30 minutes to take some sun, and that's it." And of course, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna go nuts. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna like," even though I am already. So imagine yourself for a long period of time in a little space. So I say, okay. So they put me in the general male population, and I stayed there for 2 months. In those 2 months, I met a lot of transgender. We were like 7. I also met a lot of persons' lives stories, especially because I feel myself that I am a friendly person, so I can speak with whoever, and also because when they dress you up like a male, you're like, not everyone is that much female appearance not to look male in male clothing. So yeah, I look very more like a gay guy than a trans person. So it was more easy for me to navigate in a place where there is male only, than those who were like more female presented. So yes, so I met a lot of stories, but at the same time, I seen a lot of injustice there. If you don't speak English, especially, I already have this, not as much as I getting in my English language right now with college and everything, but I already know how to like have a conversation or ask for something. So I became the interpreter of most of the people there. So that was a good thing. But at the same time, for them was not like a good, for especially my trans community in there, was not a good thing, because most of us do not look the way we want. We were treated like a male. We've been called like, if they use a female name, they will not call you that way. They will call you with your official name, and they will also separate you from the rest. You will have to be located next to the shower where the cameras are like specifically located or better visibility, because we were target. Of course, if you are female, and especially in a place where people that is like for years there, you are a target to be raped. For every 5 cases reported to them, at least one is a trans person saying that it has been raped. So, and they say like we are the person who are like provoking the male to do that. We were not like, you're not gonna be asked like what happens to you. It's like, what did you did to get that? It's like you deserve it. So yes. So I stayed there for 2 months, almost 2 months, and I gained like 40 something pounds, because the food is just sugar and flour, and it sucks. And that is another torture, because you have to eat at 5 in the morning, then 11 your lunch, and 5 in the evening. 5 afternoon your dinner, and there is no food in 12 hours. So you are forced to buy if you have money, or you will not. You will be like not having nothing to eat through those 12 hours. They force you to work for 8 hours, very hard work, and you just get $1. So yeah, that was if I kill someone. I think if somebody kills someone, will not receive that treatment, because that was so wrong. Just because you don't have documentation, you didn't born in this country, but you didn't do anything wrong. You just tried to live in a better place. You just tried to survive. Yes, that's what happened in there.
How did you get out? Sorry.
Say it again.
How did you get out of there?
Well, I am very fortunate that my sister is a U.S. citizen. She lives in Arizona, and she was able to pay the bond. They put me a $1,500, which is the lower bond that they can give, because even that I am not a problematic person, or like what they consider a problematic person, even though I am considered a flight risk, they call it that way. So they give me a $1,500 bond. My sister was able to pay for that, be my sponsor. So that's what I get released this early, 2 months only. But the rest of the people that I was there, most of them were already like 6+ months, and their cases is still wrong. So yes, that's how I got up. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona with my sister. I stayed there for over a year, and in that period of time, I've been like contact many different organizations, LGBT organizations, but most of I will say like 95% of the organizations which are LGBTQI do not do undocumented work. Work for undocumented people. So I was lucky to be able to contact Immigration Equality. So they take my case, and we won our asylum on January 13, 2016. Mm-hmm.
What did that feel like when you were granted asylum?
Well, I feel so happy on May 2015 when I get the temporary Social Security number and work permit. I feel so happy that day, because I was able to reborn, put all my pieces together again. And when we won, it was like a great piece of peace, and like the world get off my shoulders. And it was a really joy moment, and I really love that. And I'm really, really thankful for the work that the Immigration Equality did with my case. I am so happy. I am so happy that Alex Barlow take my case, with Pamela Dancer guide. I am so like happy. It wasn't that long compared with the others people who are also fighting for the cases. It wasn't that long. It wasn't that hard, but it was so hard in my personal experience. I always tend to like compare my struggles with the struggles of other people, so I don't feel that bad. But if I don't have nobody to compare, it is really hard the things that I go through.
So, what is your life like now that you have your asylum?
Well, I'm waiting now for my residence card. Everything is already like done, biometrics, process, everything. I am so happy that Alex Barlow again is my lawyer. I am like, oh, so fantastic. Like plenty of joy. And I am working in Colin Lower Community Health Center. I am a RAP case manager there, and I am like fulfilled, like so happy. And also, I'm full-time student, so yeah, I'm a busy girl, um, but it is something I was fighting for, and I finally had it, and I will not take advantage of the opportunity. I will take it all, and I promise I take it all. Yes, and I am so happy. I'm like, yes, my life is together again. Yes, I feel that I own New York. Hmm.
And when you came, when did you come to New York, and where did you first come to in New York? Which borough, or Brooklyn, Manhattan?
I didn't get the question.
When did you first come to New York?
Okay, the first time I came to New York was for a conference. It was August 8th, 2014. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I live in many different places, many different states, but I always have this centerpiece of mind that every time I get back to Tijuana, I feel like oh my God, I'm home. Like I'm in my house. That's the feeling I have in Tijuana, like it's there. So when I came here, I have the same feeling when I was landing. I was like, and I don't even see the city yet. I don't even see the people yet. I don't even hear anything about like what is now New York. But when I was 12, after a very hard period of time, when you are not accepted or you are rejected, blah blah blah, I read this book which was telling the it wasn't the right, but right now I know that wasn't the right, but at that time was something very helpful for me. Was telling the Stonewall story. Was telling the Stonewall story. That book didn't mention Sylvia Rivera, didn't mention Martha P. Johnson, because you know the situation that is going on with this cisgender queer male people erasing everything. But at that time it helped me. It helped me that there was people like me somewhere else in the world. I never thought that I would live in this place. I never thought that I will speak another language. I never thought of that. But I think that book was in my mind the moment I land, and that's what I had this feeling. And since then, since that precise moment till today, I feel that in the United States, whole country, New York is my home. That's the same feeling I have in TJ. I might be moving to somewhere else in the future, or I might live somewhere else, but I will always have that feeling every time I came to this place because I really love it. Yes, I love it. I especially love Queens, which is where all my community is, and yes, I love my Latino people in New York, and most of us are concentrated in Queens, and I live there. Hmm.
So, do you have any hobbies, even though you have no spare time?
Well, I don't have like that much time, but I always do hobbies. I like singing, writing, like creating stuff. I am always doing some shows here and there. and I am trying to find musicians because I used to have a band in Mexico, like singing my own songs, which is like LGBT related, and I'm trying to get there, but I don't have that much time, but I wanted to have that that thing and start doing some great stuff because I really love art and every expression. Yes, and I've been participating in theater with some readings and stuff that people invite me to, and it's been very like good for me because it's in a different language, and I am really enjoying like seeing the life through other culture, through other ways of thinking. It is amazing, and reading is always a good time thing and a good time.
Do you like to cook?
I love cooking. I really love cooking. It's not like a hobby. I do it because I really love how I cook. And I am like, you can see that I am a good eater. But I also do it like, as a work for a long period of time. I work in a high-end restaurants in California and New York and also in Arizona for a short period of time. But yeah, I had that experience and I love cooking, especially when you are cooking for someone, that special one. But yes, it's not a hobby, it's more like a necessity. I think,
What's your best dish?
well, that's a very good question. I would say that my best dish will be someone that I create that is like tropical chicken, which is consists on it goes with fresh papaya, kale, and a special sauce with green jello and red pepper with olive oil, and yeah, it's a very like tropical flavors. Yeah, I think that's my best dish.
Oh, we're all hungry.
Would you, at the end of this interview, want people to know about LGBTQ immigrants?
What I want them to know? Well, I want every single person who see me or who see this video to know that we're here, we exist, we are we are being placed in a shadow, but we are now coming out of that shadow because we are not afraid anymore. We cannot be afraid with the political environment that this country is going through right now, and we need the support of every single one of you because we've been in your march. We've been fighting with you for you to get the permission to get married, and it is time for you to be the shield that we need to not to be deported, to not to be excluded from what you already get with our support. So we need you to support us back hard, even harder, because you're not going through what we are going through. There is all shapes or colors of us being undocumented in this country, and we really need you. That's what I need you all to know. Support us and support us hard.
And what do you want people to know about you?
Well, I'm here and I'm trying my best to conquer my dreams, follow them. I am working so happy, feeling so privileged to get the opportunity to be able to do a difference for those who live with HIV in New York and in the United States. And yes, find me out there if you need me. And if you just want to say hi and you don't need me, just do it. I am here and I'm not moving away anytime soon.
Is there anything else you want to add to this?
No, I just want everyone to enjoy life. I want every single one of you to feel love, beautiful, and I would like to all of you to pursue your dreams and conquer them.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you all.